welcome to Exponential Manufacturing. My name is Weisman. I'm an executive director here at Singularity University, and I have the pleasure of being your host over the next 3 days. So I want to ask you to just take a moment to think about the world today. And I want to ask you, does it feel like potentially we're straddling two different worlds? There's our present, and every now and then we get a little glimpse into the future, into some bright, shiny, amazing new technology, new service, new capability that's happening. I think this is the most exciting time to be alive. It's exciting because we're transitioning to something very, very different. And all the people in this room, all the people listening to this live stream have the opportunity to really play a profound role in shaping what that world looks like. So every day we're seeing headlines about how the world as we know it is beginning this major transition. We see AI diagnosing cancers with previously unseen accuracy, starting to now best the top practitioners in the world, and it's only going to get better. We see cargo ships experimenting with wind energy to help save costs and the environment. We see countries completely transitioning their energy ecosystem. Germany just set a record, pulling 85% of their energy from sustainables. This is something that even a few years ago would have been hard to imagine, an entire country getting 85% of their energy from a renewable resource. We see robo-builders printing homes that may someday provide affordable housing here in the US or here in the world, and potentially up in the galaxy as well. Or Boston's Artaic, which is using robotics to create mosaics with previously unimaginable complexity and beauty, things that may have taken months or years for an artisan to do. And global challenges that have plagued humanity for eons are now being addressed through new technologies and tools. I know it sounds super left coast, but truly now more than ever, you can really do well by doing good. Technology can provide a path to greater opportunity and a better quality of life for everybody. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy to get there. We know that technology is rapidly transforming industries and institutions, and there's going to be clear winners and losers. And so one of the key questions over this weekend over the next 3 days, is how do you put yourself in the win column? And I think the answer to that is that you need to understand exponential technology. So you should be thinking about the impact of elements like blockchain and Bitcoin for how you're going to be communicating with your suppliers and your customers. Think about what happens as energy becomes cheaper and more plentiful. Think about what's going to happen over the next 10 or so years as we have 3.5 billion new minds that are going to be coming onto the internet. These are folks who could very well be your customers in the future. So how do you stay ahead of the curve? How do you be the disruptor instead of the disrupted? How do you avoid being Kodak? And that's why Singularity University exists, to address that problem. So SU was founded in 2008 by Ray Kurzweil and Peter Diamandis. The mission is to educate, inspire, and empower individuals to leverage accelerating technologies to address the world's largest problems and to help create an abundant future for all. You can think of us as part think tank, part educator, and part new company accelerator. Peter and Ray came together at the TED conference. Ray had written a book called The Singularity is Near, and in it, Peter had read that, was really moved by a lot that was in there, really resonated with him. In there was this insight that the world was starting to change faster and faster, essentially, that technologies were growing and changing the world at this previously unexperienced rate. But there was no place that people could go to kind of prepare for that. Right? There was no place where individuals or businesses or governments could go and to really get educated about what was happening with technology and to really think about where the world was going and how they could prepare for that. And so SU was born. So Peter is the first half of our founding equation. He is an extraordinary individual, a force of nature, really, in many ways. Besides being the chairman of SU, he's an author. You may have read Bold or Abundance. He's the chairman of X Prize, a co-founder of Planetary Resources, Human Longevity, and Bold Capital. And he's also the one who's behind this notion of abundance. So you're going to hear us talk a lot about abundance over the next few days. So abundance is really this notion of moving from a world of scarcity, so where things are expensive and not equally distributed and available to everyone, to a world where things are plentiful, where you can really imagine that the cost of most things have been driven down significantly and they're really readily available to most people. That mindset is a complete game changer in many ways, and it's really the lens at which SU looks at the world. And I hope by the end of this event that you'll be looking at the world with that abundant mindset as well. So one of the things I also love about Peter is he thinks big. He goes after really, really big problems, taking swings at issues that affect billions of people. And he does that partly from an altruistic desire to help the world and move the world forward, but also because he really believes, and we really believe, that there can be incredibly lucrative businesses and attractive businesses by going after problems that affect billions of people. So Ray Kurzweil is the other half of our founding equation. And besides his role as chancellor of SU, he's an inventor, he's an entrepreneur, he's an author, and he's a director of engineering at Google. He is a brilliant technologist and one of the most accurate futurists in the history of mankind. We're very lucky to have him joining us tomorrow and really excited about hearing some of his insights. So he had this insight, which he's written about, where he noticed that more and more technologies were becoming information technologies. And that once something became an information technology, it started growing exponentially. And once it started growing exponentially, well, that was a very clear and understood curve, and so you could start to really think about the world in the future in a different way. So he called this law the law of accelerating returns, and he realized that by understanding it, you could start to make some predictions about the future, and it's really what's enabled him to be such an accurate predictor of the future. So we're going to dive into the technology a little bit more this afternoon, but I wanted to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about who we are as an organization. So SU has really grown to be a global organization in the 4+ years that I've been there. We're really about much more than just the law of accelerating returns. We're a benefit corporation, and we really are focused on creating a future of abundance for everyone. We're not bystanders. We really try to act with purpose, leveraging exponential technologies to go after and solve these grand challenges that we talk about so much. We try to lead courageously and set an example of positively changing the world. And we're a global community, a community focused on inclusion, collaboration, and deep connection. And you all are now part of that community. We cultivate a critical but empathetic mindset. We focus on science and data to make decisions that are based on evidence and logic. We think big, dreaming of moonshots to solve problems that impact billions of lives. And we believe in being exponential, behaving with the benefit of mankind, other people in mind, and using the smartest and brightest and most powerful technologies to solve some of these big problems, because we think it's so critical to do that in this day and age. The world needs this desperately. So enough about us. Let's talk about you, why you're here. So I think it's likely you're here because you have a sense that things are starting to change. The world is starting to pick up pace. There's potentially a very different future out there. And you want to thrive. You want your family to thrive, you want your businesses to thrive, and I think you want the world to thrive. So this is an age of tremendous opportunity. It's an area, a time when we really get to reimagine what is possible. It's challenging, though, as adapting to a world being rapidly transformed doesn't have a roadmap. No one has ever gone through what we're about to go through. So that's scary to many, but I think it's incredibly exciting, and it's something that we obviously critically need to figure out. So some of the brightest minds from the past and present have also cautioned us to kind of take a minute and think about where we're going. You know, this is a major transition point for humanity, potentially for the planet, hopefully not an existential question for us, but something that we really need to pay attention to. And we need to do things differently. So I have to say, I am incredibly encouraged, though. I get to work with some of the most extraordinary people. I'm optimistic, and I'm seeing individuals every day who are changing the world, who are overcoming adversity, and through sheer force of will are moving the world forward in a positive way. I'm very moved by that, and it reminds me of the outsized impact that we as individuals, everyone here in this room, can make in this day and age. So that's why I'm here today, for my love of being around thinkers and doers, for my desire to help move the world forward in a positive way, for an opportunity to be here to help educate audiences like you, to help them see what is happening and what a critical role you play in moving the world forward. So never have individuals been so empowered that they can make planetary-wide change in such a short period of time. We have the resources to create an abundant future. There's just no question about it. If we decided that we wanted to educate and house and feed every single person in the world, we absolutely could. There's plenty of resources for all this stuff. It's just a matter of having the political will to do it and deciding to reallocate our resources. So over the next 3 days, we're going to give you a lot to think about. And I hope you'll think about the inputs that affect your business and what happens as they continue to double in capability and decrease in cost. What does your business look like in 2 or 3 doublings when your basic inputs are radically more powerful and less expensive? When you can put sensors on everything, when energy is practically free, and when you can design pollution directly out of your products. So a little over 237 years ago, Boston kicked off a significant new era in the world with a rebellion against Britain. This is a statue of Paul Revere. Back then it was about looking at one or two lanterns up in a church, and those were your signals, whether the British were coming by land or by sea. Today, all over the world, there are signals that are flashing brighter and brighter and brighter. And we have to pay attention to those signals, and we have to actively be engaged in helping create and craft this new world that we're rapidly heading into. So I hope by the end of Exponential Manufacturing, you'll be thinking about the opportunities ahead of you for your business and the role that you can play in moving the world forward, how you can do well by doing good. And with that, you'll truly be on your way to being exponential. So thank you and welcome to Exponential Manufacturing. Thank you.